Let's get back to the energy debate. And I've got to say, it's bizarre to see the way our green left politicians and organisations like the CSIRO and AEMO criticise nuclear energy as being too expensive and too slow when they've spent 20 years and about $200 billion on a renewables transition that isn't even halfway done and has only forced prices up and reliability down. Let's try to get some sense, make some sense from this latest GenCost report with Aidan Morrison, who's the Energy Program Director for the Centre of Independent Studies. He joins me live in Sydney. Thanks for joining us, Aidan. Tell us about this report. It says that nuclear is expensive to build. We all know that. But do they properly factor in how useful it is long term, especially that you essentially build a plant that can operate for at least 70 years? Is the end use electricity cost going to be a problem or not?
That's a very good question. And the big news that's dropped today is that the CSIRO has actually changed their mind about what the actual cost for nuclear would be. Previously, we had a price that was based on a single SMR project, which was somewhat experimental in the States. It failed, and that was an extremely high number. Now the prices to build nuclear power have come back down to earth. And so last week they were saying it's 6 times as expensive as renewables. This week they're saying it's only about 2 times as expensive. And there's some big adjustments to make yet. For example, nuclear power plants tend to last between 60 and 80 years. At the moment, their model only assumes they'll last for about 30 before we'd have to basically repay the price of building one again. So we're back now in the ballpark, and we can see fairly transparently some of the remaining issues that will mean that nuclear power is actually much more valuable and could be quite affordable for basically sustainable and low carbon power that can actually support the demand that when we have it.
Yeah, and it's such an important place, can be an important factor for our energy security long term as well. When we're talking about the cost then, I'm very suspicious about AEMO and CSIRO and the way they do their costings. And I know you pull it apart in a lot of detail, but there's so many costs with renewables. The storage, where batteries are frighteningly expensive. You have to have enough gas peaking power to effectively replace every megawatt of renewable energy. You've got all those transmission costs. You've got all the land rental costs associated with that. And you have to replace all that kit every 15 or 20 years. So are they factoring in enough of all those costs as against a dense nuclear establishment that is on one site for 70 to 80 years?
The short answer is no. I don't think it's fully factored in. The second part of the answer is that I wish I could see better. There's still a long way that could be gone on the CSIRO GenCost report to make it more transparent. But at the moment, it seems like they only show us about $1 billion worth of peaker plants that's in their kind of currently constructed model, where I think that we know we're going to need a lot more than that to firm up all the renewable power. So there's unfortunately, it's still hard to see the details, and we've sort of asked for a little bit of explanation about why there aren't more details. And CSIRO actually told us in the briefing webinar they didn't want to be in a position where they might contradict AEMO, and they would rather that AEMO basically be the standard that's held to. And I think there's some big problems with that, because there are still deep issues with AEMO's model, like they assume perfect foresight of all the weather. So actually, I don't think they've factored in all the full costs.